apologies, please. One from Mark Harris. Remove, replace. Yeah. He's seconded. Stu Duncan, all those in favour? Aye. Against? Very thank you. There's no condolences. I'd just like you to understand for a moment silence for the passing of Maniototo residents Tony Creff, Enoch Hawea, and Conrad Miles. Thank you very much. And we have someone move the confirmation of the previous meeting minutes, please. Duncan. Hal, all those in favour? Aye. Against? Just remind members if they feel they have a conflict of interest, to please speak up. Right, full opening hours.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Good, thanks. So the board will recall discussions and feedback from the community that's been had over the last 12 months or so about the pool opening hours. And suggestions have been made to open the pool more consistently. And you'll recall last year we opened the pool up to non-season pass holders in the morning sessions. We also understand that the hours of pools were open. Well, we know they have long breaks currently, and that split shift has put people off swimming and also has had, I guess, an impact on recruitment of staff, because staff didn't really want to work for 2 hours, have 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours off, then come back for 3 or 4 hours. It wasn't really conducive to good employment recruitment. So I guess what is proposed sees a more consistent opening schedule for both staff and customers. However, it does come with a anticipated overspend to be able to achieve that on the budgets we have this current year of about $5,000. However, that could be offset if we get if we get the community supporting the new proposed hours. But that's a hard one to put sure that's going to happen on it from our point of view. So we're really the report's really about advising that we would like to use the new improved hours, sort of streamline the hours as per the recommendation, which is Monday to Friday 7 AM to 6 PM, and then Saturday and Sundays 10 till 5. The board could always, the option is to stay with the status quo and look at this in more detail through the long-term plan. So they're probably the options for us at this stage, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Becky, how are you getting on with that?
It excites me.
Oh, good.
Yeah. This is good. It's all positive, and I think you'll find there'll be an increase in people using it. So, yeah, that's a positive for our community.
You think it is positive the way it's going?
Changing it, the hours.
Yeah, that's
So, yeah,
you think
absolutely.
It's right.
110%.
Chair, this, I think you can really support us, and we can really emphasize this and get it out there through all of your channels that you have. The likelihood of that overspend will reduce. So I think to make it really popular and to make it really well used, hopefully we can offset that as much as possible due to increased patronage.
Yeah. Advertise the fact. Yeah, you'll get great feedback. I know you'll. Yeah.
And just a bit further on that. So the good news is we have got staff ready to go from about the end of November. We're going to recruit fully recruited this year at the start of the year, as last year we struggled to get staff until sort of mid-December. So we're all looking good. However, as a lot of them are students, they are looking, most of them are looking to head back to study early February. So we may have a bit of an issue with staffing from early February onwards, but the first half of the season, we haven't got a problem at this stage. So we're just trying to work out how we might manage that, and whether that might mean, like we did last year, close a couple of days a week. We would come back to the board on that if we needed to, but there may be other people who come out of the woodwork that we can recruit over that period as well. We've, it's 3 or 4 months away yet, so we're actively trying to recruit now for those people. So whether they're casual or full time, and we try to work with all that sort of options for people.
Can't believe that. So what are the new hours? What are they going to be?
Well, he's just
7 till 6 and
yeah,
10 till
Monday to
5.
Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So it's all day.
And 10 to 5 on weekends.
So all day.
You gonna move it?
Monday, Friday.
Yeah.
I have seen that.
Then next Monday.
Yep.
You'll do it up. You can go swimming then.
That's gallery.
Done something, haven't I?
I'll second it.
Right. Okay, sorry, who moved that? Second, Stuart Duncan. All those in favour? Against? Carried, thank you. Well done.
Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Gordon. Wayne.
The meeting schedule, eh?
Yeah.
Just lost it, then, but now.
Come back. How did I do that? What are you smoking at?
23.5.3 meeting schedule. Pip's report. There you went.
Got it? Ready to go? Okay,
Oh,
cool.
I think so.
Okay. Well, you'll see the 2024 meeting schedule. Not much to, I suppose, discuss for this community board on always on Thursdays, with the exception of May, which is deliberations for long-term plan if they're needed, and they'll run at the same time as Constance does. I just had a quick check just now, because I seem to remember last year there was a question about when the AMP show was, and it's going to miss the AMP show. I think it might be the day before the 15th, the 14th.
Thursday, we're at Wednesday, AMP show.
Yeah.
February
So,
14th, yeah.
yeah. So that will miss that. So that's all good. So yeah. And
When's the show date?
Wednesday, before Wednesday the 14th.
14th. I see. Yeah.
It might be well enough to come along on Thursday. Yep.
Cool.
So the AMP shows on the 14th.
Wednesday,
what
yeah.
I can see. Yeah.
Yeah. Tough last year in Sep there, we sure it was hot. The show a couple of years ago, we got a tough to work.
I would say we can bring Powerade.
I'll move the recommendations A and B. Who seconds it? I'll move A and B.
What's that?
I'll move the Maniototo Community Board, executive adopts a meeting schedule for the Maniototo Community Board in 2024.
Second, please. Speaking clearly, all those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried, thank you.
Thank you. People's the AMP day, right?
Yep. You're more than welcome to turn up.
Right here.
We can show you some of the rural folk.
It might rain, it might blow, it might be hot. Year's report. Right here. Well done.
Give a verbal upgrade in activities and issues of interest since last year.
It's not here, so it's not good.
I move to receive the report.
No, it's not here. No report. Chief's report, right, I was going to start. Well, Stu and I are actually at the Thomas Gilchrist book opening in Surrey. It was very well. They had 200 and I think they worked out 290 people there. It was very well supported and it was very well. The speakers were excellent. Quite plenty of old people too, didn't they, that we've known for years, haven't seen. We were both also interviewers who were at the Fire Brigade 75 years, and you and Mason's 50-year gold, double gold star, so 50 years service for fire service. And it's a very select group in New Zealand. Also, I caught up with a couple of home guys, Martin, Malley, and Ash. I think his last name, about the water there. He's the water operations manager, I think. They were just up having a look. There we go. We're just up having a look at where the water came from and Naseby for Rainford, for Naseby and for Rainford, and they're just trying to make sure nothing happens again. This happened last year. They both seem quite adamant that it wouldn't happen again, and they're looking at a number of options of keeping it right. As I was told just before, Janice, 20 years in the council. Congratulations.
Well done, Jim. You get that with you in the army.
Yeah.
I must have been very bad in the past.
That has been brought up before.
Yes. Billy has told us many a story. Well done. It was a good effort to stay here for 20 years of some of the things you might have to put up with. Also, I caught up with Christine Wills about the 125th, and everything's going right. They're having a big push to sell tickets for the gala night, which I think is the 2nd of December, the gala night, isn't it?
Yeah.
2nd of December, it goes from the 1st to the 3rd. Everything's coming along nicely at this stage. She's got Janine Fletcher coming on board with it for the signage that they're looking at doing as a next project. The only other thing I've got is, particularly just out here, is the road slumping around about when they put a water main in or something in, who actually checks the compaction. Is it something we can look at? Because out here it's 3 months old, I suppose, out here.
It'd be all. It'd be all.
Yeah, and it's already slumped right away. So it would just be nice to know when the contractor does a job, that who actually goes along and checks that the hole's been cleaned out properly and the proper material put in and compacted up. There's one here and one outside, I had an address, Chris Pratt's place out on
Dungannon Street.
Dungannon Street.
That was looked at.
Yeah, but it's the holes at each end. I mean, a kid on a bike is just going to go straight in. So,
Yeah, I'm looking at that road closed, street closed there last week.
well, they're looking inside the sewer. They're looking up the spill of the stormwater.
Yeah.
Drain, but I presume there's photos or something taken before they fill the hole in, or supplied to a council.
Yeah, we'll follow up.
Yes, no.
Depends on if it was done under our contract or a developer.
Was it when we developer, because it wasn't from the home.
We can follow up on that through their process.
And that's all I've got. Move that report be accepted. Then there's Duncan L. Favour, against, carried, thank you. Becky, like to go first, seeing Mark's not here.
Sure. I don't have a lot actually, to be fair, but pretty exciting. The Main Street's getting a new business put in down at the old Forest Bar. So I don't know if anyone's noticed, there's been people out there painting and tidying that up. So I've only heard through secondhand what it's going to be, but it sounds like it's going to be pretty exciting. A clothing place, like a warehouse or where they manufacture stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Yep.
To get that Main Street looking good down that end, which is cool. And I just had a lady come to me, one of the services that they had down at the cemetery. They obviously got there maybe a little bit later, so people had parked their cars, and it was like a traditional thing to wash your hands before you go in with water, and I couldn't find the tap. So I drove down there this morning, and it's quite blatantly right there beside this post. But they were just wondering if there could be like maybe a sign put up, because if there's a car parked right in front of the fence line, you wouldn't see it. There's only one.
They'll be from the bottom end of the cemetery, so that one.
It's right down the bottom there. So they just said it was just they were going in there and they generally rinse their hands with water entry and exit. And they're all standing outside going, where's tap, and they couldn't find it. And maybe it was because it was an emotional thing as well, but they just said, is there any chance that they can maybe make it like a wee water sign or something? They're pretty simple to do. I think like I saw it pretty quickly. But if there's a car parked along the fence lines, which they're often
They do, they park right along.
Yeah, so there was just a little bit of a question for that to happen. I'm sure that would be easily done. And just apart from that, it's just a busy November. There's heaps happening in the area. Sports days next week for the kids, and the hospital balls as well. The 125. It's got a nice big buzz. Yeah.
Sports day next week.
Friday.
Friday.
Yes.
Next week, the 3rd. Yeah.
Running today if you want to go and help.
You don't need help down there, Stu. You're all over it.
Just move. Slowly. That's why I actually wanted help to run.
I used to beat you in the sprint race every year, so it was never that hard. Have you got your name on the skimming cup?
Yes.
You have.
Yes, and the match it.
There's two of us.
Right. So that's me.
All right, thank you, Vicky. Duncan.
I've got very little. I was at the 75th for the Fire Brigade and the Double Gold Star. Great night when you like listening to speeches. And the only other thing I've got is that it's the usual one, the broom on the side of the road is pretty easy to spot at the moment. Got yellow flowers on it.
Yeah, actually a question. What do they spray the broom with on the side of the road these days? Roundup or
Won't be Roundup. Probably water.
Whatever they need, make it work.
well, it seems that they're killing the grass as well, so I wouldn't have thought it was taught off.
Well, we haven't seen any spraying for a couple of years.
Well, some roads are getting quite bad, but
Yeah.
things where they're sprayed, because if they're using Roundup, they're killing the grass and the seed just grows again.
Yeah, I did notice that a couple of years ago, that if there's one bush on its own, they're just ridden down the road and nailed it out the window of the truck, sort of thing, because you could just see a big line of dead grass getting to the broom bush
Yeah.
and
As
beyond.
long as they kill the broom bush, but if the
Yeah,
thing's just growing again, because there's no competition. That's what they do in the forest, is they spray it Roundup, and they get all brood back the next year, because there's no competition.
Mm.
The grass is dead.
and that's all I've got.
Right. Thank you, Duncan. Stu?
I'll start with the book launch, Fire Brigade. Great to see, when you think about those early days, the old guys at Terry Hurd, and they had everything from, you could actually, not long ago, you could still buy dynamite at Gilchrist store in Terry Hurd. Yeah, and people go in there and buy a box of dynamite and go and blow fence posts and carry on like that. And I guess that's, pretty cool when the family is still there and still being a part of it, and for the community still looking after it and respecting it. So it was a good turnout for that. Had comments regarding toilets, which we'll bring up again, I think, with David later. A lot of people, the locals especially, I've had 4 this week, want to keep our toilets in the railway station.
Yeah.
Real keen on it. So I think that's something that, well, if you're a snarky at council, you say, well, we've got the new toilets, it's a waste of money, but I think they're really cool too. They look great where they are. And there's a really good discussion, and there's no problem with that. But a lot of locals love those toilets in the ticket office. Had a working bee last week at the Wedderburn Hall. It was quite interesting. There was a few locals organised it, and there was just about everyone that probably doesn't go to the pub. There was a heap of people there, and they're having an AGM meeting on next Sunday, another working bee to tidy up all the brooms. So there's a bit of enthusiasm around there. So it'll be interesting another day. Council yesterday in a workshop last Friday, Fuel Way, and a discussion which we won't be directly involved in here, but I think is really cool going forward as a Cromwell Mall redevelopment. While it doesn't really affect us, but some of the rates may come out of our corner, I think if we can have a really strong Cromwell Mall community, it's a real benefit for our community going to sport and things there for us to do. That's the closest probably new mall and everything like that when we get going. So that's going to be big work, and it's sits alongside the Gear Avenue development and the hall and library and service centre. So there's a fair bit of chunky work going to be done up there. And I just hope that we don't get forgotten about. But I think if it all comes together in the next 5 or 10 years, it'll be pretty cool and it'll be good for us as well.
Well, you get a lot of people coming from Cromwell to here, driving through, they're walking on.
Yeah, but you know, as a development,
They're on Cromwell, that's probably we get just as much
totally, you know.
lead off because they keep driving.
Yeah, and in that next discussion we'll be having at council next term about distributing of funds, and some of the funds are available with land sales in Cromwell, which will be an interesting conversation, which really can only benefit us. But my deep down tells me if we have funds that we build for away here for nothing, it really enhances to have it sitting in our back corner. We'd be 3 times well off to have Cromwell really bubbling at the seams. So I think everyone realises we've got to travel no matter where we go. If we've got to go to Queenstown or Wanaka to get the same services just up the road. At that event, I was fortunate enough to be at one of the head tables with Foreign Emergency District Commander and Regional New Zealand, one of the top 3 in New Zealand, which was Stephanie Rotarangi, who Duncan and I have had meetings with on a casual basis at the trying to organise fundraising for our fire engine. But what was quite alarming, which is something I want someone to do some work on at some stage, is they're saying in Australia, the El Nino event in Australia will be of proportions that we've never seen in fires in Australia. And it'll be a 3-year El Nino, which in agriculture means that the East Coast will dry up for 3 years in our country, but they'll be on fire over there for 3 years. And you see it now starting. So she had really, really alarming bells going off as they don't burn enough in Australia to clean up around their towns and cities. And she suggests that we should do more of that in New Zealand, especially along the Hawklands and places like Naseby where we've got a lot of scrub. And her argument was that Australia could take a fair chunk of the world's retardant, and if we did have a major event to get fire retardant, it would be very hard. And if it got bad enough, they reckon the Australians will come over those planes and technically fly into New Zealand, land at Wanaka, put a fire out in the Hawklands or a Marama or a Tekapo, wherever we might have fire, and fly back at night. So it's really, when you look at how far advanced they're thinking about the future of firefighting in a 3-year global, you know, which will be an amazing, when you see now Australia's half by burning now. And I just think it's something we've got to think of, and I guess more so now we're on fire and emergency, looking after the communities. What does it look like if we have a fire in the Hawklands? We had a Marama, we had Ohau, you know, those sort of things. But it's quite alarming to think that, you know, Australia's going to be in that, we're going to have a drought for 3 years. So that's something to keep an eye on the ear out for. But when you think about it, we've got an airport at Cromwell that's state of the art now. We've got technology there, but we haven't got the capabilities of filling a Hercules with 60 or 70,000 litres of fuel, because we know we can land them and take them off. So maybe that's something out of that Dairy Creek. We have an emergency supply that if we had to look at that and talk with Foreign Emergency at the rural level or in Australia, you could actually be flying out of Alexandria straight into St Pathans in 15 minutes, you know, would have world-class rural firefighting capability. And that would be something to talk about trust funds or Central Lakes Trust as having that ability, and or Wanaka Airport, you know, but they're further away from a massive water supply than our own airport. But that's sort of something further out, but definitely worth chucking on. Having a bit of feedback on solar farms, and we've had some discussions at council consenting on what they look at and how it's going to be, but there's a lot proposed in the bigger scheme of things. And I know there's been work where people have got consultants to look at objecting consents and all that. So I guess as elected members, we've got to stay neutral about how we see things, because there's a process that goes through. But when you start looking at, on my calculations, around about 2,000 hectares of solar farms going to Central Otago, it's going to have a big impact on what we do. And I just brought up yesterday, we could have 350 staff living around Philly working out there, but 3 of you or 2 of you are on emergency services, that we haven't got enough staff to run our ambulance to have it online. So all of a sudden having 300 more people and someone drops a hammer and their boss says you've got to call an ambulance because that's protocol, that could put our community under enormous pressure for emergency services and even the hospital A&E or whatever. So while it's massive growth if it does turn up, and you know there's talks of, and there's drop-ins, so everyone's open about it. Be prepared to get a lot of feedback from the community, and that's the process we have to go through for consenting, resource consent and all that. But for our community, not all of it.
I went to that meeting. I was talking to one of those solar farms. They said they basically had their own. If they had that many guys, they'd have their own.
And that would be a great result.
They'd be just sitting there all day.
Yeah, and that'll be ultimate. And then they can bring the helicopter up and they pay rates and tax, and that's fine. So, but you know, that's all good. And yeah, Well, the agriculture side's not looking good. There's a lot of people around, there's things happening, and I am taking kids at 3 o'clock and we get the meeting done at 3:15 up at the athletic sports, and I haven't got hold of Tanya Murray, who's wanting to help do the kids, who's Commonwealth Games high jump gold medalist and itching, living in Ramsley now, itching to be asked to help take kids for athletics. So I've just been on a video with Rebecca about the future of Central Otago and talk about how positive it is, but when you've got kids running around like we have up at the school, and they'll be out in the wind and trying to hurdle into the wind and run into the wind and loving it, screaming and yahooing and go to sports days and beat each other up over 100 metres. We're pretty lucky to have all those kids here in the facilities we've got. So I think we're in a great shape, and that's what I said to Rebecca now. But, you know, there's a lot of people in the community that are willing to help. And other than that, we've got a fair bit of work to do in the next wee while at council. That's me.
Thank you, Stu. So if someone move those reports, please. Second, thank you. Councillor Howell, all those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried, thank you. Governance report.
Let's receive it. I'll move to receive the report, so isn't it?
Right, so Stu's moved to receive the report. Second, please.
Second.
And Howell, all those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried, thank you. Date of the next meeting will be Thursday, the 30th of November 2003.
It'll be the last meeting for the year, won't it?
Have to be.
We might have to be yarn after it.
Yeah, I can see that. Rightio. Can I do the next bit? Do we have to? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, thank you everyone for the attendance, and I'll just close the meeting. As you go to that solar guy and talk to him.